What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're on this new game called F1 2019. So we're gonna check it out. We're gonna see if it's a good game or not. There was this other YouTuber who did like 20 laps of Monaco simulation damage. That did pretty well, so I think I'm just gonna copy him. And we're gonna have our own iteration of that race. 18 laps of Montreal.
Okay, your race will be compromised if you're too aggressive into turn one. We need to stay out of trouble today.
All jokes aside, I reckon you guys should check it out if you haven't already. It was an absolutely phenomenal race, and I hope that this race today is half as good as what Monaco was. But anyway, here we are for Montreal, 18 laps, simulation damage. This is on PS4 with the public. Basically, same set of rules, safety car is on, everybody has their assists. We're just going to go at it and see if we can survive the Wall of Champions 18 times. Away we go for Canada, and looks like a pretty shaky start for the Toro Rosso. We moved forward one place, but also lost one to the McLaren, but otherwise it's been a successful start. Just holding on to my front wing and all four of my tyres was the aim for this first lap. Didn't really care if I lost position, because I know at some point there probably will be a safety car with the proximity of the barriers and the vast amount of difference in the skill gap between all the drivers here today. So, you know, anything is possible. But anyway, we're settling into this race now, looking to see if we can move forward in this Grand Prix now, starting on the soft compound tyres. We'll be finishing out the race on the mediums, if possible. But, we are under attack from SLR Craigleton as we head into the hairpin for the first time. And Toro Rosso locks up, runs wide, gives us P8, which is exactly what we want. I think he might have touched the wall on the exit. I'm not too sure though. It was a bit of debris, but it could have been from just up the road. Speaking of just up the road, there's like 3 or 4 guys going side by side up there. Still have 19 runners in the Grand Prix, which is relatively impressive. Someone is in the Wall of Champions, which was a racing point. We can now see Mercedes attacking us on the run into turn 1. Will he get the inside though? Yes, he does. I can't tell if that was a hit or whether I just misjudged my braking for turn 1, and I've got front wing damage. Wonderful. So, for reference, this was filmed a little while ago. This was done with my load stop brake pedal. This was my first set of races on F1, so I was still getting used to this, to be fair. So, perhaps didn't brake as late or as intensely as what I should have into turn 1. Ran me out wide a little bit deep, and then we got the front wing damage, and our race kind of hit the rocks a little bit, but we are looking to recover as best we can here on lap 2. Again, fighting away with the Mercedes. It's a weird little predicament. This SLR Craigleton guy, he's pretty quick. I'm a little bit inconsistent at this stage, but I feel like I am still quicker than him, despite having the front wing damage. We see another racing point going off, but rejoining the track, squeezing us up against the wall. Had to take an not an illegal overtake. We had to take a track limits warning on a straight for that, no less. But we move ourselves up into P5. Still 16 runners left in the Grand Prix, which is mightily impressive, considering this place is pretty unforgiving when it comes to mistakes. Putting the Alfa Romeo now under pressure as we head into the middle sector. Having to give him a bit of a squeeze there, which is not ideal. He runs wide onto the grass, and he falls into the clutches of those cars behind. So there's a tidy little Tiametmarduk train forming at this stage. Gucci, who is... Oh, forget about Gucci. We have lost the back end and have lost P4. That Gucci guy, by the way, up into P2 now, and he started behind me in this race. So he's absolutely flying in this Canadian Grand Prix. Through the Wall of Champions, we've actually hit the wall, but somehow have received no damage. Interesting. We make very light grazing contact with the Mercedes, I think it was, earlier on in the race. Yellow front wing damage. But we hit the Wall of Champions at pretty considerable speed and get nothing, which is very, very interesting. Anyway, we straight line the chicane. SLR Craigleton got past us again. That's a 3-second time penalty. It's all starting to unravel a little bit in this race as we have a local yellow.
Ahead of you, there's a yellow flag ahead.
Not really sure what that's for, to be honest. Maybe someone crashed and then quit straight away. I can't really tell. Down to 14 runners. I'm extending this first stint quite long. Oh, goodness. And that's Fred front wing damage. Maybe I should have stopped on the last lap, to be honest. That was not a good decision for me there. Ideally, I probably should have stopped quite early on in the race, got onto the medium tyres, changed the front wing, and then got going again. Probably didn't make much sense to stick it out long with my damaged front wing and old soft compound tyres. But what I was thinking was, I thought there was going to be a safety car coming at some point to kind of bail me out, and I'd have fresher medium tyres for the end of the race, but that just never really materialized, did it? There's still 11 laps to go in the race, so I'm hoping that there's a safety car at some point which brings me back into it. But now it's a case of damage limitation, bit of a recovery drive at this point. So let's see if we can claw our way back towards the front in this race. Up behind the racing point now, on the medium tyres, we do have a full complement of front wing, so we'll be utilising that to our advantage if we can. The racing point, I think, hits the inside barrier on the pit straight, and now we're putting our teammate under pressure into turn 1. He pulls out of the way and just lets us go through. So that is us now up into P7. Craigleton, who we've been fighting with all race, is a good probably 10 seconds up the road. So this will be a tough ask to make up the difference. But again, I'm hoping for that safety car that's going to bail us out in this race. Running out of time though. Purple to the first sector. See if we can set a fastest lap of the race at this point to really salvage things. 1.5 tenths up as we go through the middle sector. Craigleton is still a good amount of time up the road. We come to the final chicane. Probably could have attacked that a little bit more, but again, simulation damage is on, so we can't really afford to take the mick with track limits or the curves or anything like that. We don't even go purple to the fastest lap. So turns out we're not cutting the final chicane enough, really. So I'll learn my lesson for next time. We have Prelly 10 out of the race. That puts us down to 12 runners and brings out the safety car that we have been wanting all race long. We are boxing this lap. We're putting on the soft compound tyres, and ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the game for this Canadian Grand Prix. We have potentially 5-6 drivers that we have to claw ourselves over in order to win this race, and that is exactly what we're trying to do. I feel like a lot of people in this Grand Prix are also switching to the soft compound tyres. When a safety car comes out in a scenario like this, just having pace, having fresh tyres is absolutely king. We are putting ourselves slightly at risk by making a pit stop and giving up track position, in an online race with high damage. But looks like a lot of other people stopped as well, and really there was no negative effect of that. So I'm really looking forward to this race, to really getting stuck in and fighting with the race leaders. Someone up here is going slow.
Are you alright? Engine off, engine off.
And we're out of the race. Just like that. We are out of the Canadian Grand Prix. I'm shell-shocked. What has just happened? We formed up behind the safety car. Everyone was going slowly. Someone was desynced, I think. I'm not too sure. Here's the onboard from Rhythms F1, who was literally right behind me. I slowed down. I stopped. I avoided everything. But then I think Rhythms comes through. Oh, that's a disaster. That is an absolute calamity. Rhythms has run into the back. Like, that's not his fault, but I was kind of blocked in. Simulation damage, man. I didn't want to go left or right and risk someone like spinning around or running into their path if they change direction. So I thought the safest method for me was going to be slowing down to a crawl, and it's completely screwed us over. The Red Bull, who was the actual race leader up ahead, has spun out under safety car, rotated around. Someone in AI mode has stopped, which is a silly thing to do. And then it's just caused a concertina effect. P3 in the Williams is stranded right in front of me. He's out of the race, so he's got no wheel, and it's just a big domino effect, and we've lost about half the field with that one incident. What an unbelievable turn of events in this Canadian Grand Prix. This was, for lack of a different superlative, this was a very boring race up until this point. But now it is all kicked off. We're down to 10 runners. People are still slowing down under safety car. What is going on? it's coming in on the end of this lap as well, the safety car, and multiple people are going to have to come in, change their front wing. We might have a 2 or 3-way scrap at the front to see who can win this race. Oh my goodness, I just can't call this. It's still kicking off here on the restart. Someone is backing up really slowly. I think it's the McLaren of Gucci or whatever it is. Gucci gang. CRG Blizzard. Brake testing. The Ferrari, which is what you want to see. But away we go for this race. There's about 2 or 3 people up front who are either chancing it or don't have front wing damage up ahead. And it means that there are 2 McLarens leading the way in this Grand Prix. I'm going to keep on board with everything in this race to see who wins this one. This is just absolutely fascinating. It's a race in the pit lane. A lot of the faster drivers, you'll note, in the pit lane got caught up in that. And we might potentially see a showdown if these guys up front are massively slow, getting caught up by the faster boys in the pit lane. Who is going to win this race, lads? I have absolutely no idea. Or I do actually, because I've already edited it. I've already gone through this race, but you guys don't know, which is all part of the fun. Danestar putting Gucci under pressure as we head into the hairpin. Does he go for the dive bomb? No, he does not. I'm about to show you guys why I'm 10 times better race director than FOM. There's Tiametmarduk running this from his bedroom, able to capture all of the on-track battles, way better than a team of about 50. So FOM, hire me, please. Here we are, back to the onboard of the lead at the front. The battle at the front. Don't consider me for a commentary role. I'm absolutely terrible at that. Here he goes. Danestar up the inside into turn 1. Gets the move done. His teammate has to back out of that if he wants to avoid any front wing damage. We can see Craigleton now in for a change of front wing. That's a very late call, but I think he's under the control of the AI. So it's pretty understandable. The AI are pretty stupid, to be honest. We are following on board with Rhythms, who is pretty good at dodging rammers and online noobs. But today he's going to have to put that ram dodging ability into some lap time and some pace. I'm pretty sure he's a league racer, if I'm not mistaken. So if he can keep it clean, get past a few of these guys, he might be half a chance of getting on the podium. Here you can see civil war between the Mercedes-powered cars. That's just resulted in... Oh no! Rhythms is out. We didn't actually see it on camera, but Rhythms got collected by either the Ferrari, or not the Ferrari, he got collected by the Mercedes or the Williams that kind of got looped around at that middle sector chicane, and the innocent party is the one who has bit the dust in this Canadian Grand Prix. Down to 8 runners left in this race. Blizzard absolutely flies past the Toro Rosso, who is lagging around all over the place. He moves his way up in a P4. The 2 McLarens are duking it out for the victory. I'm going to see if I can make some sense of the penalties and give you guys an estimate as to who's going to win this race. But judging by all of those incidents, even on the first couple of pages, there's just too much to make sense of. Look at all these penalties. Oh my goodness, that's probably where the safety car was. Look at this, 5-second penalties everywhere. We do see a couple of McLarens involved. So to be honest, I can't even make sense of who is going to have penalties and who isn't. But here we are in the last lap. You can see Danestar is going to win the race on track. But there are penalties which will be decided in the steward's box to decide who wins this race. We see Gucci come across the line, and he wins. Not only by a small amount, but Gucci has won by over 15 seconds to the racing point. Danestar must have had a massive amount of penalties in this race. Maybe he caused the he didn't cause the safety car incident. We saw what happened. It was all the Red Bull, wasn't it? But anyway, Magic Mayhem comes home in P5. That rounds out the amount of runners that are still in this race and controlled by players. I need to have a look at the results screen because that was just absolutely mental. In the end, we have Gucci with no penalties. The only person in the field to do so comes from P10 on the grid to win Canada with simulation damage. Well done. And he's got master rank as well, so that is fully justified. Probably all earned in this one race. No penalties, overtaking 10 cars to win in a Tiametmarduk video. Well done. That is your certification of master rank right there. But for me, I couldn't even get to the end, so that just shows you how much of a pleb I am. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed Canada with simulation damage. We did a couple of other races. We did Australia, and we also did Baku, which was also an absolute wreckfest. So stay tuned for those videos. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. And until the next video, guys, I'll see you next time.